talk about shapes, kids. Let's talk about shapes, kids. Let's talk about all the sizes and the sides they come in. Let's talk about shapes. Like the triangle, it comes in 3 sides. Like the circle, it comes with no sides. Like the square, it comes with 4 sides. Let's talk about shapes and all the sizes and sides that they come in. Today's shape is square. Square by Mac Barnett and Jon Klassen. This is Square. This is Square's secret cave. Every day, Square goes down into his cave and takes a block from the pile below the ground. He pushes the block up and out of the cave. He brings the block to the pile at the top of the hill. This is his work. One day, while Square was doing his work, Circle floated by. Square, said Circle, you are a genius. I did not know you were a sculptor. Ah, yes, said Square. What is a sculptor? A sculptor shapes blocks into art, said Circle. Ah, yes, said Square. I see what you mean. But he did not really see what she meant. This is a wonderful sculpture, said Circle. It looks just like you. Square looked at his block. Yes, I suppose it is wonderful. Now, said Circle, you must do one of me. Oh, said Square. I will come back for it tomorrow. Goodbye, genius. Circle, said Square, I think I should tell you something. But she was already gone. Oh, dear, 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 said Square. He studied the block. I have to make this block look like Circle, he said. Circle is perfect, so I must make this perfect. Square got to work shaping the block. Oh, crumbs, said Square. This is not perfect. Oh, dirt, said Square. This is much worse. He went back to work. He worked and worked and worked and worked. Ah, cried Square. He had carved the whole block away. There was nothing left. He was surrounded by rubble. Whatever is the opposite of perfect, this is what this is. I must stay up all night and figure this out. Square fell asleep. The next morning, Square woke up wet. He despaired. What have I done? I push blocks. I do not shape them. I am not a genius. Hello, genius, said Circle. I am early. Oh, dear, whispered Square. Are you finished? Asked Circle. Oh, yes, said Square. I am finished. Circle peered down. Oh, my, she said. It was beautiful. It was beguiling. It is perfect, said Circle. It is? Asked Square. Yes, said Circle. You are a genius, said Circle. But was he really? You have been listening to Square by Mac Barnett and Jon Klassen. Today we're going to work with our ribbon sticks. If you haven't got one, try a shaker instead. Ready? I've got a ribbon stick. How about you? I've got a ribbon stick. How about you? I've got a ribbon stick. How about you? This is what my ribbon stick can do. I can wave it back and forth, back and forth. I can wave it back and forth, back and forth. I can wave it up high, way up high. I can wave it down low, way down low. I can wave my ribbon stick to and fro. I've got a rhythm stick. How about you? I've got a ribbon stick. How about you? I've got a ribbon stick. How about you? This is what mine can do. Great job. Here's by Pamela Hall. Squares are everywhere you look. Can you find some in this book? All 4 lines are just the same. Their 4 corners make a frame. Find the squares hung on the wall. Some are big and some are small. Spot a square while rolling dice. See the squares while getting ice. You can even eat a square. See the cheese and crackers there. Look for squares inside your bowl. Scoop them up and eat them whole. Find a square in a design. Use a square to make a sign. Squares are hiding on this quilt. Can you find the ones that tilt? Stack the squares of building blocks. Many squares can make a box. Find a square in a hurry, please. Achoo! A square can cover a sneeze. Squares are hiding all around. How many of them have you found? You have been listening to Squares by Pamela Hall. This one's called 5 Astronauts Went Up into Space. You ready? One astronaut went up into space upon the moon to play one day. He had such enormous fun that he called for another astronaut to come. 2 little astronauts went up into space upon the moon to play one day. They had such enormous fun, they called for another astronaut to come. 3 little astronauts went up into space upon the moon to play one day. They had enormous fun, they called for another astronaut to come. 4 little astronauts went up into space upon the moon to play one day. They had such enormous fun, they called for another astronaut to come. 5 little astronauts went up into space upon the moon to play one day. They had such enormous fun that they called for everyone to come. Cat by Elizabeth Schoonmaker. Eula was a square cat. She longed to be a round cat, like her friends Patsy and Maud, but Eula was square. Life wasn't easy for a square cat. Mouse holes were impossible, and when Eula tipped over, it was hard to get back up. Eula was invisible in a city, and her favorite circle skirt didn't quite fit right. Red shoes made her look short, and stripes were just plain wrong, up and down or back and forth. Eula was unhappy as a square cat, so unhappy that she lost her purr. Patsy and Maud tried to make Eula feel round. They gave her hoop earrings and a beehive hat. Patsy painted a red rouge circle on one of Eula's cheeks. Maud painted the other cheek. Altogether, Patsy, Maud, and Eula rounded their lips and sang, "Ooh," while they skipped in circles eating donuts. Eula began to feel round until she tripped and tipped over, which, as you know, is not good for a square cat. That gave Patsy and Maud an idea. They each slipped into a box. They became square cats, just like Eula. They showed Eula that a checkerboard sweater with a pillbox hat looked dazzling on a square cat, and how a painting of a square cat is priceless. As for mouse holes, they are impossible for all cats, round or square. Eula was surprised. She didn't know that. Patsy and Maud showed Eula that square cats are easy to stack, all natural billboards, and are excellent square dancers. Eula jumped with joy, tipped and got stuck like always. Patsy and Maud jumped and tipped too, and got stuck next to Eula. Stuck flat on their square backs, the 3 cats gazed into the blue sky. Only a square cat could have this view. Eula purred, Patsy and Maud smiled. You have been listening to Square Cat by Elizabeth Schoonmaker. Hello, my little explorers. Thank you for joining us for today's Little Explorers Shape Edition Squares, where we talked all about squares. Squares are so cool with their 4 even sides, right? So today we began our journey with Square by Mac Barnett and Jon Klassen, published by Candlewick Press. Boy, Square had a tough job ahead of him. Circle really gave him a challenge. And do you think Square rose to the challenge, or do you think he just got lucky in the end? What do you think? Next, we read Squares by Pamela Hall, published by Wagon, and we got to see all kinds of squares in real life. What squares are around your world? Look around and see if you found any that you know about. I'm going to show you mine in a few minutes. Next, we read about Square Cat by Elizabeth Schoonmaker, published by Simon & Schuster. Oh, Square Cat did not want to be square. He wanted to be like all the other cats and be round. I don't know, is it better to be square or better to be round? But I love that Square Cat's friends helped her find a great way to be herself. And they wanted to be like her and support her. I thought that friendship was really great. So I looked around for some square things and I found lots of them here at the library because a lot of our books are square. How about you at home? Do you have a lot of square things in your house? Maybe you have a square book too. We'll see you soon for the next Little Explorers Shape Edition.